Royalty. Power to the chosen people.
So we're going to talk about, briefly, on my lunch break, this idea of religion. And I know I keep bringing this up, and I know to some people I'm like, I probably sound a little off, but I'm going to explain to you what I mean. Yesterday, my husband and I, we were talking, and we were talking about this idea of how Christianity made us try to fit square pegs into round holes, right? And it doesn't work. And so what had to happen is that you had to be indoctrinated or given apologetics in order to answer these hard questions on why we didn't do certain things, or why the Jews have to do this, and why the Christian has to do that, and why you're a Gentile. And it didn't make sense. You would read the manuscript, you would read scripture, and then you would come away with, quite naturally, probably what you should have come away with when you're reading Yah's word, and then you would want to put that in practice, and someone say, no, that's not what you're supposed to do, right? Or you don't have to do that anymore, or you should be doing it this way, or you would see something you didn't have to do, and then they would tell you how to do it. It was always a confusing thing, so you needed indoctrination, okay? This idea of this walk having doctrine that somehow tries to do the same thing is mind-blowing to me. Where we can read the scriptures and we can come away with one thing, and then a person comes behind it and then says something different. And so now you've created this square peg for this round hole with your personal doctrine, and then you give me your apologetics to why I have to adhere to that particular doctrine. And then when I go to search it in scripture, I can't find it, or it doesn't go that way, and then you tell me there's something wrong with me. Any congregation, fellowship, camp, I don't care what you call it, who tells you you don't need the Hebrew language is a congregation that is fitting square pegs, or trying to fit square pegs into round holes, and because they don't fit, then they are segregating or ostracizing the truth in for their doctrine. And I say this because it's not only true, but it's frustrating, right? Because had you had the language, and if you had the put my seatbelt on, I'm off the country road. If you had the language, then you would not be able to be deceived, or you would be able to properly ask questions to, let's say, your husband, or if you don't have a husband, to your spiritual leader in a very respectable and, in a respectable setting. I'm not saying get indignant, but what I am saying is you would be able to ask these questions that you have that are causing your brain to try to justify putting square pegs in round holes. They don't fit. So what you're doing is you're trying to trim the edges off the square peg so that it fits in the hole, but thus leaving the information that is important to the side. So you're taking away parts of the truth in order to make it fit into your truth, and that is not how scripture works. It doesn't work that way. What we do is we find scripture being that square peg, and if our hole is round, then we modify our hole to be square to fit the square. We don't shave the square into a circle, leaving parts out in order to fit into our circle. That's not how it works. And so you will be constantly frustrated with people like myself who are not okay, whether it's a negative or a positive, fitting square pegs into round holes.
Royalty. Power to the chosen people.